In last week's episode, you watched as I prepared the process of upgrading my home office. Last week, we went through the process of installing picture frame molding. There was a lot of cutting. There was a lot of frustration in measurements. But all in all, the wall has come out to be exactly what I want it to be. So today, we're in part 2 of this series, and we're going to start the process, or we're going to show you how we got the built-ins built for the office. We're also going to talk a little bit about living room updates and what's to come in future episodes. Welcome back to the channel. Let's hop in. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the vlog. OMG, I'm so excited because we are in part 2 of the office upgrade series. And y'all, I'm so proud of me. We built the built-ins. We did the IKEA hack with the built-ins this past couple of weeks, and they are absolutely amazing. So I've recorded this intro a couple of times because as you can see behind me, there's some things going on. There's been so much going on, but today's video is so much information that I had to come back and re-record the intro because we're only gonna focus on the office today. I have to double back to these updates when we have a little bit more time. So it's been 2 weeks since the last time we talked. And in that 2 weeks, we've got the wall painted, we've got some furniture delivered in the living room, and we managed to build some custom bookcases. They're not bookcases, some custom cabinets in my office. And I'm so pleased with where we are. I'm so excited about the direction that we're headed. So today I'm gonna share that process with you, from us picking up the materials to me actually putting it together, having a little fun, learning how to use the tools that we had to buy in order to get it done. And then we'll come back at the end and talk about what's next. I can honestly say that I feel so liberated. I built them 100% by myself, not because I had to. It's a long story, we'll talk about it when we're going through building the stuff, but they are amazing and I love so much how my office is coming together. So today's part 2, custom cabinets. It's gonna be a good time. Let's hop into today's video. Now, friends, I have got to say that I am probably, hold on, this camera, she crooked. Boom. I have got to say, I am so proud of me. I am so proud of me, okay? We are standing in front of built-in cabinets that I completely installed myself. All by myself. I would not let anybody help. This took me down, but it was well worth it, and it was well worth the fight to get it up. And I primarily didn't let nobody help because I'm the only one that does research on how to get this stuff done. So I'm the type of person, when I'm trying to figure something out, I just like to kind of go through my bumps and bruises by myself. And then once I have it figured out, I can allow people to help. So Tim was so frustrated with me because, like, I'll show you footage. He had learned how to use a circular saw. He was on board to getting this put together. And I just started one day while he was working, and I just went from there. And it took me probably 3 days to put this together completely. And it was a labor of love. Like, it's not easy work, but now that I know what to do, the next time I do it, because there will be a next time, I am hooked. I can do it more tutorial style. So today you'll see, me kind of in action, and I'll probably pull that in as I'm talking to you. But I am in love with this. I am infatuated with where the office is going. And I can't wait for the next couple of weeks for furniture and stuff to start coming in, so this can start to pull together, because I am ready to get in here and do my stinking thing. So just an up close look. These cabinets, so this is an IKEA hack, okay? So I bought Brimnes cabinets when I came into the office because I needed something functional. I went cheap because I wasn't sure what I was gonna do in here, and I figured that if I got these cabinets, that if I needed to repurpose them somewhere else, I could shoot them upstairs to the kids' lifestyles room, and it would be all good. The money wouldn't be wasted once I decided what I was gonna do in here. So when I started looking at, because at first, remember y'all, I was saying, oh, I'm not gonna do built-ins, I'm just gonna get like a sidebar or something. And I was like, nah, I need that counter space, not only for decoration, but for when I'm doing my TikToks, my lives, stuff like that. Like I really wanna get back into my creation where I can like bust it out. And this is the perfect height for me to be able to put a tripod up with my phone, just do all kinds of stuff. So I was like, I really need to design this space where it works for me. Because houses are investments for me, I'm always thinking about, well, resale value, will this work? And that's great. But I finally got to a place in this process where I'm like, you know what, this is about me and my family. And should we decide to sell it, whoever decides to come back and buy it will make the adjustments that they want for them and their family. So at this point, I'm like, I'm going all in. Like, we going down. Y'all know my office is my workhorse. I've said it plenty of times before. I need a space where I can work on the computer. I can lounge, I can think, I can meditate, I can exercise, I can do all of those things. I need this one little 13 by 11 foot room to function in that way for me. And the way I currently have it set up, it does not function in that way. So phase one was putting up the trim molding. I wanted to walk in to something elegant. Phase two was doing these built-ins. Phase three will be to take the room down to a moody color. I showed you the color that we're going to do. It's going to be like a muted green color that will deepen the mood in the room. And then phase four will be to furnish it, which will involve some modern furnishing, a sitting area, a workstation, storage, all that good stuff. So I'll insert a picture of the mood board so you can see where we're going, because I'm super excited for that. And I've got some stuff in the works for that. But for today, I kind of want to show you just me putting this together. And then while we're putting it together, while I'm showing you what we're putting it together, while I show you how I'm putting it together, just me kind of struggling to get it done, I'll talk through my thought process. There are some things that I did wrong, and I'll talk about those in the final video when we come back, that I will do differently in the next video or at the next time I do this. But like, girl, it's good. So material wise, these are IKEA bookshelves, sat on some plywood. This is maple plywood. I originally wasn't sure if I was gonna stain it or paint it, but I'm gonna paint it because the way I had to cut, the wood grain on the top is not all going the same way, and I'll explain that later. But the next time I do this, I'm thinking about doing a bench in this same maple plywood. This stuff is expensive. For like a 8 foot by 4 foot sheet, it was like $90. So we was gonna use that. I used the whole sheet. I used the whole sheet. We've got 2x4s, there's studs, like there's a whole process to putting this together, but I'm incredibly proud of it. I'm pleased with where it is. I'm pleased how it opens up the space. It's a mess right now because it's under construction, but once the sofa is in, the sitting chair, the workstation, the mirrors, the decor, like it's gonna be a whole freaking mood. So I'm done talking. Let's check out how I put it together. We'll do a little bit of chit chat while we do that. And then next week when we come back, will likely do some shop with me. This room is getting painted. I've got a special presentation tomorrow that once I'm done presenting, I'm filling holes, I'm sanding, I'm priming, and we are painting. She will probably be painted by Sunday because that's just how ready I am for this to be done. But yeah, we'll paint. We will do some shop with me because I want to put some fall decor out. I haven't done it yet because I'm not a huge fall decor person. And my mom was like, you were doing the family an injustice. Your grandmother and your aunts decorated for fall all the time. I was like, well, you decorate for fall. But I have seen some stuff that kind of has me intrigued. So I probably won't go all the way out like the girls are doing, but there may be some pieces. There are some places that I want to incorporate some fall stuff. In here in the living room by the entryway. So we'll probably do some of that fall decor as well. I know I'm late, but yesterday I got in my car, y'all. It was 105 degrees. Give me a break. Like, it's still summer. I'm still drinking mojitos with mint, okay? Because it's just that hot. Anyways, enough rambling. Let's look at how we put this together, and I'll see you next week. Now, in order to get this project done, we had to purchase a lot of supplies. I needed a circular saw, which I probably should have got a table saw. We needed a whole bunch of wood, so 2x4s, plywood, all that good stuff. We got some of it cut down at Home Depot, but I don't know that I would do that again. I'll tell you why later. The little stuff. Oh. I got the other bag. Oh. Oh my God. I think so. Oh.
Come on over here. Get your stuff.
It's kind of sexy.
Put that camera down. Move on. Come on.
Huh?
Get that camera. Come on. Straighten up all this. Come on.
What you want me to do?
Okay.
So once we got home, we had to learn how to use the circular saw, and I was highly intimidated by it. And Tim was totally on board to help with this project. So this is him learning how to use the tool so we can get straight cuts. The circular saw is good, but we needed a table saw too. But we made do with what we had. And it turned out that I actually got to use the circular saw later. So fast forward a couple of days later, there was so much going on with Tim's work that I had to get to this project myself because I'm just in a space where I'm ready to get stuff done. So he had a lot of traveling to do and I didn't have a whole lot of time to wait. So here you see me setting up what is the base. Now, doing this differently in Tim's office, I will take off the trim around the floor and I will cut the carpet. But since I was here by myself trying to get this done, I was afraid to do it because I wasn't sure if I did it and messed it up, if I was going to have help to fix it. So I actually just set this on top of the carpet. But like I said, when we do it again, we're actually going to pull up the carpet, the material up under the carpet, because I think it'll make it easier to level. It was not difficult to level, but having to deal with the bounce of the carpet did make things a little bit more challenging. So when we do it again, the carpet's got to go, and so will the trim. But basically, you build a frame of 2x4s to support the weight of the bookcases. So I built this frame out of 2x4s, anchored it to the wall, put some plywood over it so that I could sit the actual Brimnes bookcases on top of it, and they would actually connect to the actual 2x4s. So that's what you see me doing now. So now that the base is installed, I gotta get the back anchor installed on the wall because this is going to provide the spacing that's the same amount of space that is running along the trim so that I could push the bookcases into it and anchor them to this trim. Now to do this, I'm using some construction adhesive to make sure this doesn't come off of the wall. And then I'm also gonna nail it in the wall about level to where the bookcases are. Had I have been thinking, I would have done it exactly the height of the bookcase. The problem was when I was trying to staple into the wall, because I kind of dry fitted all of this, when I was trying to nail into the wall, I couldn't reach this back plank, and I couldn't use a 2x4 because then that would have created too much space between the wall and the bookcase. So I needed to actually use this 1x4 so that it could be the same size as the trim. So I'm just measuring out, trying to make sure it's level. I am so wore out. My 9-year-old, she is eager to help in all situations. Usually I keep her out of the construction zone because I don't want her to get hurt. But considering I was by myself, I didn't have much of a choice. And she had just gotten home from school. So I was like, girl, come help your mama hold this thing. So she brought me water with a strawberry on it. She was just there for moral support, taking pictures in my iPhone. And then when I needed her, I allowed her to actually come into the room and help me put this on the wall so that I could get it anchored. So I'm just applying the construction adhesive. This caulk gun is terrible, so I would not recommend this one, but basically all it is a tube that you use with the little gun, and you bead the construction adhesive on it, and then you apply it to the wall so that it'll stick. This normally will stick. Like once I put it up on the wall, it was stuck within a matter of minutes, but I just nailed it for that extra support, and I nailed it where the studs were. So we're gonna do that now. And then once we get that done, we'll start adding the actual bookcases to the wall. At this time, it's the next day, and my back is killing me, and Tim is frustrated. But what I had to do was go in and empty out all of the bookcases, take out all the shelves, and take off the feet at the bottom. These IKEA Brimnes cabinets, you have these little plugs that you can put on the bottom of the bookcases. And since this is sitting directly on a flat surface, I don't need those. So I took them off. And this is just me installing the last one closest to the wall to ensure it's level with the rest of them, and then measure out the space that I need between it and the wall so that I can put some more plywood anchors, not plywood, 2x4 anchors on the wall to anchor it to. So they're all in, they look good. Don't worry about that backwards panel. All of it's going to be painted, so they'll all be the same color shortly, but they're in and I'm satisfied with where they are. So now I've got to go and cut some more 2x4s to anchor it to the wall. So I didn't anchor down the last cabinets on each side because I needed to come in and put some more studs on the wall. So I cut the 2x4s down and I did like an open end stud, which I probably should have just closed it off because at the end of the day, I had to come back and put anchor studs to the actual cabinets. It was just easier for me to get these screwed into the wall this way so that when I put the end cabinets back on, I could just put another piece of 2x4 between the end cabinet and the wall so that it could actually attach to the cabinet and anchor it to the wall. So that's what I'm doing here. And then once I get finished with that, I'm going to put the cabinet back up and anchor it to the wall. All right, studs are in. So it's time to put these shelves in place and anchor them down for their permanent home. So all I'm doing now is just making sure that she's connected the way she's supposed to be connected. I realized at this point that I had a little bit of space in the back, so I pushed them all the way back, and I'm just trying to make sure that how I set them before I start nailing and screwing is how they're going to be in their level. Because it's a hard time taking it down. And I had to do that a couple of times. Take it down, put it back, take it down, put it back. It was just annoying. But now that it's in, and I'm going to anchor it in. I had a little bit of space before I realized that I needed to put another 2x4 on the edge of the bookcase. So this is me here, like, why is not the mathing? And that's because I forgot that I had to put the other 2x4 there. So there was a little bit of gap from the size of the 2x4. And then once I figured it out, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I know what I'm doing now. So doing this by yourself is hard, guys. Tim was so frustrated at this point, but I mean, I had to do what I had to do. I needed to get it done. And I was in a time frame to get it done because I had stuff to do. So yeah, if you could wait, I would say wait. I definitely would not do this without him again. Not never. So now I'm anchoring, baby. I got it where I want them. And it's time to nail them in and make sure they're not going anywhere. So I'm nailing into that back plate that I put back there for support. And then I am going to screw into the 2x4s to make sure these bad boys don't go nowhere. I initially tried to nail it in and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do more than that. We're gonna screw this in too. So I took the same construction screws, because we're using like construction connection screws. I took those same screws and drilled in from the side of the bookshelf into the 2x4s, and she's solid. She ain't going nowhere. So once that's done, I can go back and do the rest of them and then start to play with the countertops. All right, so now that all the cabinets are in, they're anchored, I am preparing for the countertops. I'm placing some 1x2 flat on top of the bookcases all the way across to the wall because the countertop is going to sit on top of this. Now, I'm using plywood, like a maple plywood for the countertop, and originally I got it cut down at Home Depot and they weren't the right size. So I had to literally use my circular saw to do some strip down cuts. I don't think I recorded it looking at the footage. I think I missed the countertops, but the countertops were a doozy, and we can recap that at the end of the video. So remember how I said I should have done the 2x4 like in a rectangle before I anchored them to the wall? Where I forgot. I forgot to anchor the 2x4 to the actual cabinets. So I had to go back and put the other side on before I could close in the actual cabinets on the wall. So what you see me doing here is clamping this 2x4 to the outside edge of the end cabinets. And I did this on both sides so that I could drill it in. It would be level with the other side, so that when I go to encase it, when I go to put the siding on it to close it in, the siding has something to nail into, because elsewise it won't have anything to nail into and we run the risk of it moving around. So things I wouldn't do or things I've learned, I'll talk about that in a whole nother video, but this is just me trying to get it together so that I can screw it in and have a solid foundation. Elsewise, it's super solid. I think at this point, I've already encased it with the trim. I've gotten past my countertop drama, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. And at this point, we're at the home stretch. We are almost ready to close it in and be done. As you can see, we're at another outfit change. So at this point, I'm just like, finish the race. Finish the race. You are almost done. Finish the race. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So I didn't get a chance to show you how I installed the countertops, so I'm just gonna kind of walk you through some things that happened, and then we'll hop back on and close out the video. So the countertops I had cut down at Home Depot, which I probably won't do again. I had them cut down because I was so scared to rip them down myself at home. But that was a huge mistake, and I should have done it myself, because the beauty of these countertops, look how pretty they are. I could have stained them, but because I didn't cut this right, I have to paint it. So a couple of things that happened. First of all, this strip was cut the right size. But even though it was cut the right size, it's not mitered on the end. So when I ripped down this matching piece of plywood to go on the front as the front lip, because I wanted a thicker front, we still have this opening here. So what should have happened is I should have ripped down a straight piece, that was the width that I needed, but I should have 45. I needed a table saw, and I didn't have a table saw, and I didn't know that I needed a table saw until after I started installing this stuff. And I was like, crap, I should have done this on a table saw, because a table saw would have allowed me to create some angled cuts on both this piece and this piece where they were at a 45-degree angle, and where they would have come together and you wouldn't see this raw edge. So now I have to install like this taping edge on it so that it matches this, and when I paint over it, it'll be the same texture. Second thing that happened was the second piece that I had Home Depot cut down was not the proper width. So I had a full 8-foot long piece of plywood that was about this much shy on the width. So I literally had to turn that plywood long ways and cut it widthwise to meet the edge. And that gave me three different cuts, with 3 cuts going with the swirls going one way, bumped up against this one long piece with the swirls going the other way. So even if I wanted to stain this, I can't, because the swirls aren't going the same way. So I have to fill it in with wood, sand it down, and then I'll be able to paint it to get a full solid surface. But that was one of the major lessons that I learned in putting this together, that frustrated me. But down here, we trimmed it off. It's closed off. Everything looks good. I don't know what happened to the footage of me installing this, because I have it, but it's lost. I don't know where it is. But I absolutely love how it's come out so far. The doors are on because I needed to make sure the doors would close with the lip of the countertop. And the base that I created, all is well, they closed. They're not all even, but I just needed to make sure they closed. So now I'll take everything off, fill holes, sand it down, prime it, so that we can paint it this weekend, and start to install it permanently so to be ready to go. So yeah, this is the almost finished product. This is the installed product. Let's hop back on camera real quick and wrap up today's video. All right, so now that everything is installed, like I said, I just have to fill the holes, do some sanding to get it prepped and ready for painting. But I absolutely know that this was the right move to make, and I absolutely love the way it came out. I've seen this hack done with Billy bookcases, and it looks amazing. But I like the doors on the Brimnes bookcases, because they go with kind of the trim, the rest of the trim that's in the house. So I'm still deciding on whether or not I'm going to fill these to make them just look shaker style. I probably will sand them down and paint them so you don't see that kind of crack in them and they look like for real custom. But I am really pleased with the way this came out. This was hard work. I will not do it without Tim again. I will say though, when he came home, he was so proud of his wife. He was so proud of me. He was like, girl. But he was so frustrated with me at the same time. But I probably won't be that kind of superwoman again, because this was a hard project. And what probably could have happened in a day took me 3 days to do, because I was hard-headed and didn't want to wait. So I love it. That's it so far. So next week's video, we're gonna come back. We're gonna paint, and we're going to prepare. I'll give you the updates on the rest of the house next week, because I just didn't want this video to be too long. So we'll talk about everything that happened in the living room. I'll show you some garden updates, because the indoor garden by that time will be a couple of weeks in growth, so you can see what that looks like. But yeah, let me know what you think. Would you try a project like this? Yeah, would you do it by yourself, or would you wait? Oh Lord. But yeah, me and power tools, we're becoming best friends. I learned how to use the circular saw. I love it. I do feel like though I need to invest in a table saw, because there are some precision cuts that I could have been able to make had I had the proper tools. So yeah, keep that in mind. I'll list the tools that I think you should have down in the description. if you decide that you want to take on a project like this, but I'm in love. I like it. And I'm ready to paint this bad boy so we can start to bring it all together. Thanks for watching, friend. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye, girl.